Lil Guardsman is a charming point-and-click comedy that draws heavily on the success of games such as Papers, Please and their border checks, and turns it into a wonderfully crafted journey. It takes similar mechanics and significantly expands on them with amazing voice acting,
Inside this castle lies my fate. Perhaps I'll even get a date.
a humorous selection of NPCs,
Hello there, my name is Buttface.
and an engaging player-driven story based on all of your choices, all of which results in a masterfully crafted and well-structured story with a lot of replayability if you are the achievement hunting type, but in a more casually complex way with very little punishment. And that's because you can restart each shift with the power of the Chronometer 3000. It's hilarious and exciting as the plot shows itself to be more than just a simulator. Using the power of time travel and technology, you'll re-perform evaluations on clients that arrive at the Kingdom of the Sprawl to guarantee that you can get the greatest results by the end of your shift. Playing as Lil, a 12-year-old girl, your father becomes overwhelmed with more work than he can handle, yet is unable to leave his position as a guardsman. Having the greatest idea, he invites you to fill in for one day, ensuring that no one enters the kingdom without a permit or at least a plausible reason to be there in the first place, which you have to deduce. Surprisingly, your first day goes by rather successfully, and you find yourself filling in for him as a permanent fill-in each and every day, while acting as a gate guard to protect the kingdom from political strife and wars, which alters the course of your story depending on how poorly or perfectly you performed each shift. While there are only two different endings, it's more like what you would expect from a game like Fallout, which gives you a short rundown about everything you did and all of their consequences. The only issue is that near the end of Act 1, entering and re-entering the town map does become tedious as it loads each individual icon one by one. This just feels like an unnecessary waste of time as it renders you unable to interact with where you would like to go next since you have to wait for the icons to fully load in, which was annoying since it could definitely have been a little bit more fluid and to the point. It's truly astonishing with how many references this game has to share at every opportunity, such as pop culture references, phrases from movies and memes, to bands such as Gorillaz and even Kiss.
Oh my god! I've got to tell everybody! Soylent Beige is people!
Not to mention all the fourth wall breaks and humorous dialogue.
Why don't you do your own job for f***'s sakes? I'm going to have a f***ing childhood!
There's just something so welcoming about a game that hits these topics perfectly to the point where you just can't help but smile and chuckle. If you're expecting to find largely a simulator where you are performing a perfect job, going home, and repeating the same motions each and every day, it's really more than that. It's done in such a bright and cartoony way that it adds a lot of charm and excitement. Using conversation, reverse psychology, tools, which you must manage with gemstones purchased and used before each shift, to the items and your own wits. You must learn everything you can about the person you are dealing with before admitting, denying, or sending them into the kingdom's dungeons. And while this is a deduction game, you're going to have to do said job, which has rules that you must abide by. Following the writ, which is the day's guidelines, in addition to basing your own opinion on characters that you encounter, sometimes you will have to do your job as professionally as possible, that being like not wasting important people's time or letting somebody specifically in without question. Sometimes you might have a political issue going on and you're not allowed to let certain races within the sprawl. And if you don't follow said rule, it could result in being fined. Or maybe you have to make a few phone calls to make sure everything is legit before making a decision, while making sure that you aren't using up all of your action points per encounter. You can definitely put your own sentiments on the line if you truly believe that the person in front of you meets the descriptions that your kingdom requires, or maybe you just don't agree with the rules, whether it's for the army drafts, work, financial rewards, or anything else. So long as you meet the quota by the end of the day, be that a 2 or 2.5 average, you can sometimes take a bribe or turn a blind eye and help support your family. Using the power of time travel, which is centralized entirely within the bounds of your guard shed, you can repeat each encounter or night as many times as you are allowed to get the best results while experimenting with powers that you will never fully comprehend. When more of the townsfolk learn about the experimental equipment that you've been given by the local scientist bee, they'll stop at nothing to harness its power. So you need to be extremely cautious about what you choose and who you trust. If you do end up losing the game, it's not too big of a deal since it's pretty casual about it and it gives you infinite retries when you do get a game over. Lil Guardsman hits every note flawlessly. The pacing is ideal for people who want to take their time instead of rushing through it. Each and every one of the characters are unique and not recycled with their own little mini stories to piece together for yourself based on what choices you decided to give them. Maybe they meet their end or live happily ever after. You're ultimately the one that gets to shape their story. Regardless, you're going to be expecting about 10 hours of gameplay with an engaging cast of fully voice-acted characters and plenty of opportunities to figure out who you're dealing with. But in terms of challenge, there won't be too much complexity here. Now, that's not to say that it's going to be a walk in the park. You will be compelled to actually take the job seriously and to immerse yourself in the world and story because of how well everything is designed, especially with the main character Lil and her sassy style.
Ew, gross. gross.
It's possible that because I received the second best ending, some things just didn't make a lot of sense. It felt like several parts of the story were not thought out well when they described the full seriousness of Lil's actions and what was going on with her world due to the use of the Chronometer 3000. Maybe those parts of the story were a joke that I didn't quite get and I shouldn't think too much about it, but either way, I had a terrific time with Lil Guardsman and I honestly think you would too.